your number one source for local news. This is WRAL, coverage you can count on.
This cold front brings an end to our heat wave and some much needed rain. I'll show you when it arrives coming up.
Rationing water resources. Starting Monday, the city of Raleigh will limit how much water customers can use. What you need to know to avoid fines.
Ending youth gun violence, the outcry for solutions from leaders, community members, and young people, the effort to eliminate shootings in Durham.
Well, right now you are taking a live look over Carolina Beach. This is certainly the place to be today. What a gorgeous view. But there is an expiration date to these hot temperatures, and we have a decent chance for rain this weekend. Good afternoon. I'm Laura Levine in for Renee Chu.
And I'm Ken Smith. Thanks for joining us today. Let's get right back to meteorologist Amy Wilmoth. She's here to show us when a cold front brings along these changes.
We're all ready for this front to get here so it can bring us some rain. Right now, that front, it's our next weather maker moving through the center part of the country. Severe weather possible across the center part of the country. Now, as it gets to North Carolina, it's going to lose some of that energy, but we still expect rain and a few isolated storms. We actually had some rain in the northern part of our viewing area today. That's all out of here and moving toward the coast. It did bring a little bit of rain. It didn't add up to much, and it only impacted our northern counties. It was about a trace of an inch of rain across the northern part of our viewing area. So not a lot, but at least some of you saw something today. This weekend for outdoor plans. So Saturday, I have it in yellow just because we have the potential for some record heat. It's going to be hot tomorrow. And then Sunday is in yellow because we have a 50% chance for some scattered showers and storms. Sunday is when that front is going to arrive. It won't rain all day. That's what we really need. It's not going to rain all day, so you can get outside some, but we will be dodging a few storms. We're getting close to some record highs Saturday, so we have a forecast high of 94, and the record is 95. So the heat is still here Saturday, but we don't have to worry about any rain. And then those scattered showers and storms are with us on Sunday. But notice the temperature down into the 70s for highs, 76 for the high temperature on Sunday. We'll have an even bigger drop in our temperatures by the time we get to Monday when we're down into the 40s. So this cold front is going to bring some big changes to our temperatures, and we're hoping we'll get some rain. We'll talk more about how much we could get coming up. But as of now, it's a 50% chance for rain. The timing for this looks to be 1 o'clock to 7 o'clock Sunday. Well, more on this, and we'll walk through it hour by hour with Futurecast coming up in just a bit.
Well, despite the rain in the forecast Sunday that Amy just mentioned, water restrictions will go into effect Monday, and landscapers are suggesting preparing your lawn this weekend. WRA's Sean Gallagher joining us now. And Sean, what advice are you hearing about getting ready for these water restrictions?
Well, Ken, really less is more. If you have to cut your lawn this weekend, maybe take a weekend off, or if you do, raise the deck of that mower a few inches just to give some grace to your grass. And then also you can see the moisture on the sidewalk here. A decent soaking would be great headed into next week. Now, this weekend is the time to set your yard up for success. That deep soaking can help get it ready for the dry spell ahead. Landscapers telling us to check your irrigation systems as well for any issues. You don't want to deal with that next week. And then when you do water, it is key the timing of that. Do it when the sun isn't so hot, like early in the morning. And if you want to get a workout in, spreading some mulch this weekend would do. That 2 to 3 inch barrier can protect your plants for the long haul.
It just shields the ground from the sun. Sun obviously is good at drying things, and the more layers you can kind of keep in between the ground and the sun, the better, and the more moisture will be retained.
Now, again, starting Monday, those restrictions go into place. Sprinklers will be allowed from midnight to 10 a.m. on Tuesday and Wednesday, odd-numbered houses on Tuesday, and then even-numbered on Wednesday. And again, remember, water no more than a ½ inch per week. Now, just to be clear, handheld watering should be allowed at any time during that process. But again, with these drought restrictions going into place on Monday, Raleigh Water is actually reevaluating that every single Tuesday. So we'll have an update then about whether or not these restrictions will continue. For now in Raleigh, Sean Gallagher, WRAL News.
Sean, thank you. A burn ban is in effect right now as crews battle thousands of acres of wildfires across North Carolina. Severe drought conditions make it easy for these fires to start and spread, including one brush fire that shut down a popular Wake County park. It reopened this morning. WRAL's Ali Katlabar explains how the dry conditions caused the flames to spread pretty quickly.
Two of the trails are closed. One of the nature trails behind me, and then the lake trail. You can see the cone set up and the sign. Park employees tell me that they are out assessing the damage. You can see some of that damage in this Sky 5 video of the brush fire. Crews even had to use bulldozers to clear vegetation and prevent spreading. Officials say the dry, breezy conditions likely fueled the fire, and people were even asked to evacuate. We spoke with a woman who witnessed the response.
I saw the fire you could see it on the ground in the woods coming towards the park. We were just enjoying the breeze and the beautiful day and the low humidity. And then the fire came very quickly.
And the park employees I spoke to tell me that the cleanup process will most likely not be quick. We're working to find out when these trails will be back open and just how much damage the fire caused. We're also working to find out how exactly that fire started. Reporting in Wake County, Allie Cadlebar, WRAL News.
Keeping up with water restrictions, burn bans, and rising temperatures, you can do so on the WRAL weather app. It's free to download from your phone's app store. Make sure to turn on push notifications so you can get important alerts right at your fingertips.
The search for a 13-year-old girl from Morehead City who was the subject of an Amber Alert is now over. Police found Olivia Kimbrough safe just before 9 this morning. Police issued the Amber Alert yesterday around 3. Officers circulated surveillance pictures of Kimbrough with an unknown male. He has been identified and located. No word on charges at this time. A man charged with a deadly nightclub shooting in Raleigh is due in court today. Giovanni Hernandez Jarami is charged with the murder and assault with a deadly weapon in the death of Jorge de Carranza Carranz on Sunday, March 22nd. Investigators say after the shooting, he left the state with the help of Martha Jones. She's charged as an accessory to murder. Several state and federal agencies tracked Hernandez Jarami to a residence in Houston, Texas.
Elizabeth Holmes in the WRAL Live Center. Right now, crews are investigating a fire that happened at an apartment complex in Durham. We were able to get some Sky 5 video of the scene earlier today. We know that this started around 11 o'clock this morning, and this was off of Kimalia Drive. There's that Sky 5 video. You can see multiple fire crews on scene. You couldn't see the active fire, but we could see a hole in the roof. At this point, it is unclear what started the fire. We also do not know if anyone was injured at this point. We have reached out to Durham Fire with those questions, and we are still waiting to hear back at this time.
Elizabeth, thank you. This weekend, family and friends will celebrate the life of former Miss North Carolina, Carrie Everett, in her home state of Washington. There will be a memorial service for her there. Everett passed away on Easter Sunday after her fight with gastric cancer. She was 22. Everett was just the fourth black woman to hold her title after she won it in 2024. Last July, she was diagnosed with a highly aggressive form of cancer in her stomach. A live stream of tomorrow's service in Washington state will be available on YouTube. A memorial service in North Carolina is planned for next month.
Well, right now, young people in Durham are holding a gun violence awareness event. We've heard from the public outcry about so many people in Durham who are just tired of the violence. WR's Kirsten Clark shows us how this year's crimes compares to years past.
We've heard a public outcry from so many people here in Durham who say they're just tired of the violence. This is shooting data from the Durham Police Department that shows year-to-date numbers. So let's take a closer look at those numbers. As of April 11th, the data shows the total number of shootings is down at 132 so far this year, compared to 144 this time last year. The number of people shot is up at 54, with 10 of them fatal, compared to 35 people shot and 5 killed this time last year. So far this year, 10 of the people shot in Durham were between the ages of just 6 and 20 years old. The city, county, and community are working together on a violence reduction plan aimed at lowering those numbers. But the organizer of today's symposium says the youth needs to be a part of that conversation, sharing their experiences and telling officials what they want to see change.
The urgency is real. We cannot wait for another tragedy. We have to respond now. We have to be proactive. And seeing the gun violence that's impacted our kids, the kids are getting younger and younger.
The Unmuted Youth Leaders Against Gun Violence Symposium is underway right now here on the campus of North Carolina Central University. It's in the Hubbard Totten building, and it wraps up this afternoon at 2 o'clock. In Durham, Kirsten Clark, WRAL News.
Several people are facing charges in a Moore County drug bust. 7 people were arrested during a joint operation yesterday. Deputies teamed up with probation and parole officers to search several homes. They found drugs like meth, fentanyl, heroin, and cocaine. Each of the 7 suspects face various drug charges.
This weekend, you can be one of the first to ride Pullin Park's new electric train. All day today through Sunday, people of all ages can head to the park to celebrate the new train. Tickets are $6 to $10 a person. Along with riding the train, there will be live music, a scavenger hunt, and a few performances. Celebrating the hidden talents of people in Wake County now, tonight local celebrities, business leaders, and elected officials take the stage in support of the United Arts Wake County's flagship Artists in Schools program. WRAL's Chris Michaels will be performing. Wake on Stage begins at 7 at the Fuquay Arena Arts Center on Van Street. WRAL is a proud media sponsor of this event.
Multi-talented Chris Michaels.
Yes.
Well, next at noon, national security, the overnight vote on Capitol Hill that extends a critical surveillance program, and what's next for the measure implemented to keep Americans safe.
Also, air pollution, why unhealthy air may affect more than just our breathing. What a new study reveals as we get ready to spend a lot more time outdoors in the spring and summer.
And ethanol pros and cons. Now, even though we're seeing a slight decline in gas prices, we'll help you decide if this renewable plant-based fuel is right for your vehicle that could save you some money.
Coming up next, sea storms moving in with WRAL's exclusive Dual Doppler 5000, sponsored by the WRAL Weather app. Download now for live radar.
Here in the WRAL Live Center, we are learning that a student at Holly Ridge Middle School was hit by a vehicle while riding their bike to school this morning. This is a letter from the principal that is on Holly Ridge's website. It says that the student was taken to the hospital, treated at the scene first, and then taken to the hospital for further treatment. Right now, it's unclear what that student's condition is. The principal said that this was a frightening experience, and they are asking parents and guardians who are coming to the school to exercise more caution. We'll continue to bring you updates as we learn them.
The man accused of killing Charlie Kirk wants a judge to ban cameras from the courtroom and says live broadcasts of the prosecution are violating his right to a fair trial. Tyler Robinson is due in court Friday as his attorneys press their claims that biased coverage is tainting potential jurors. Now, media organizations, prosecutors, and Kirk's widow, Erica Kirk, want the court to allow cameras. Prosecutors intend to seek the death penalty for Robinson if he is convicted of the September 10th shooting. A guilty plea from the man charged with setting a Virginia councilman on fire. Shotzi Buckhays pleaded guilty to aggravated malicious wounding and attempted first-degree murder in the attack on Councilman Lee Vogler. The first charge carrying a maximum sentence of life in prison. Buckhays will be sentenced on June 25th.
In an early morning vote on Capitol Hill, the House agreed to a short-term extension of a critical foreign surveillance program. Section 702 of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act is set to expire on Monday. House lawmakers agreed to a 10-day extension that would allow them to hammer out their differences. The law allows intelligence agencies to monitor foreign targets, but they can also collect Americans' data. The measure now heads to the U.S. Senate as well. Well, the bid will extend protections for Haitian migrants is headed to the U.S. Senate for a vote. That's after the House passed it 224 to 204 with support from 10 Republicans. The bipartisan moment comes as President Trump tries to end temporary protected status for Haitian immigrants, and less than 2 weeks before the U.S. Supreme Court is due to consider a fast-track case ending the protected status for Haitian and Syrian immigrants.
Air pollution may impact more than just your breathing. A new study found that higher levels of air pollution could trigger migraines, especially when combined with heat and humidity. Researchers found that when pollution levels spiked, more people went to hospitals and clinics for migraine treatment. One researcher suggests that when the forecast shows high-risk exposure, those prone to migraines should limit time outdoors, use air filters, and consider short-term preventative medications. Well, the finish line for the Boston Marathon is now in place on Boylston Street. The 130th running of the famous road race takes place Monday, which is Patriots Day, a holiday in Massachusetts commemorating the first battles of the American Revolution back in 1775. More than 30,000 runners from 137 countries will take part in the big event. And that includes former NASA astronaut Sunny Williams. She says that she wanted to show people you just have to get to the starting line and see what happens.
A lot of people will be rooting for her for sure. But we are in desperate need of a lot of rain, and we're not expecting a lot of it anytime soon. Meteorologist Grant Skinner explains, though, it looks like we could be a bit wetter for the end of the month.
Looking long term, it looks like we have a better chance to see at least a little bit more rain for the end of the month. You can see across the southeast and areas back to our west towards Texas and parts of the upper Midwest. Some spots have a slightly higher chance to have wetter weather, especially down towards the central Gulf Coast. We're hoping for more rain because we desperately need it. You can see this kind of area in light green across the entire state in that possible category for some wetter weather. So looking long term, this is Futurecast, one of the models, the American model. This weekend, of course, you have that chance for showers that comes through, but not a big rain chance. It's dry for much of next week, but then by the end of the week into next weekend, we could see a higher chance for rain, especially into Sunday as our next system moves in, and maybe a little bit more rain by Wednesday. Again, that's one forecast model. Actually, it's showing a little bit more rain now by the middle of next week, and the European model has been showing the same thing. You can see through this weekend, a small chance for rain as our next front moves through, dry for the majority of next week, but then by the end of the week into next weekend, we'll have a slightly higher rain chance as our next system moves in, and then possibly another round of rain in the middle of next week. And any rain that we can get, we really need, so we're hoping for some higher totals and, of course, more rain through the end of the month.
Of course, we always appreciate your Ask the Meteorologist questions, so keep them coming. We're here in the Severe Weather Center with meteorologist Amy Wilmoth. It's so good to know that we're talking about rain, even if it's a little bit.
That's right. We'll take what we can get at this point. It's been so dry. We've only had 1/10 of an inch so far this month, which is kind of crazy for the month of April. We rely on the spring months to get our rain before we move into the summer. But this is the next cold front that's headed our way. Notice how there's some severe weather in the kind of close to that area of low pressure. The severe event with this is going to really weaken as it moves through the eastern part of the country. So I can kind of show you that with Futurecast storm energy. Storm energy is pretty high today across the center part of the country. And tomorrow it really starts to weaken, especially by Sunday. There's not going to be a ton of energy. So I wouldn't expect severe weather, even though we're seeing that happen today along the cold front, but at least we'll get some rain. It's a 50% chance for some showers, maybe an isolated rumble of thunder. But again, I wouldn't expect severe weather with this round. So here's Saturday at 11 o'clock at night. Saturday's fine. It's just going to be hot. We're going to be in the 90s Saturday. Sunday morning, we'll wake up to some clouds, maybe a few sprinkles here and there, but I think probably Sunday morning, some of you are going to be able to get outside and maybe do some yard work if you want to. Around lunchtime, we'll see some showers moving into the northwestern part of our viewing area, but I think it's really beyond lunchtime that we'll have that better chance for some rain. Here's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, some rain in the triangle at that point in time. 5 o'clock in the evening, some hit and miss showers, maybe a rumble of thunder. And then by 7, 8 o'clock in the evening, those showers are exiting our eastern and southern communities and moving into the coast. Now, this doesn't look great. Most of you should expect under 1/10 of an inch of rain with this round. So again, it's not coming with a lot of moisture, but we'll take what we can get, and we'll hope that we get some more rain by the end of the month. This is good. This is the precipitation outlook from the Climate Prediction Center, April 25th through May 1st. So it includes that time frame that Grant was talking about, and it has us with above normal rainfall. So fingers crossed that that really pans out. A live look at Rocky Mount Mills. There's a little bit of cloud cover with some blue sky as well. Temperatures are warming up. It's 83 in Fayetteville, 81 in Rocky Mount right now, 82 in Southern Pines, and it will be another hot day. Highs will be in the upper 80s and low 90s, around 90 in Raleigh, 89 in Durham, 93 in Fayetteville. So record heat, it's possible today. The past 2 days, we've tied record highs. 90 is the forecast today. The record is 93. Saturday, we have a forecast of 94, and the record is 95. Once we get past Saturday, we'll be done with the heat, and temperatures are going to take a bit of a tumble. 76 on Sunday, hoping to get some showers, maybe a few storms. Look at Monday morning, down to 45. So that's a big drop in temperatures. 68 for the high on Monday. Looking good Tuesday, 72. We're getting warmer again by Wednesday. Wednesday and Thursday, highs are back in the 80s.
Okay, Amy, thank you. Coming up on WRAL News at 4 p.m., drought concerns and data centers as a lack of rain, puts pressure on the water supply. Growing demand from data centers is raising new worries about how much water those facilities use and whether that use would be limited during drought conditions.
And tonight at 5, a detergent bottle not labeled, a dirty potato peeler, and a leaky sink. All that and more in this week's Restaurant Ratings.
The war in Iran could hinder your plans for June, July, and August. Although the Strait of Hormuz reopened today, we could still see some impacts on summer travel.
Yeah, John Lawrence explains the adjustments some airlines are making.
The 2026 summer travel season could be full of headaches.
Supply and demand are the undefeated champions of business and economics.
Jet fuel prices have rocketed upward since military action against Iran began, and travelers are going to be picking up part of the tab.
This is a dire situation for airlines if they don't cut flights and raise prices for flyers.
The International Energy Agency says Europe has roughly 6 weeks of jet fuel on hand, and officials say if oil supplies remain stuck in the Strait of Hormuz, some planes could be grounded.
The price of jet fuel's up north of 40% since this war started, and airlines are starting to cut flights.
The ripple effect could also produce other travel-related problems.
Routes that are going between, two cities that aren't necessarily hubs. You might have to go around, get inconvenienced. You might have fewer nonstop flights and more delays as well.
And analysts say it may be a while before things return to normal.
Once the straits open up, it takes time to unclog the 800 tankers that are there, get them to the places they need to be, and then get the refineries back open and processing all this fuel.
And that was John Lawrence reporting. Now, the global average of jet fuel price has more than doubled compared to a year ago. Then that's according to the International Air Transport Association.
Okay, check this out. Some airline passengers will be able to catch some Z's in their own bird nest in the sky during long flights. Air New Zealand will offer 4-hour sleep sessions in a Sky Nest pod for economy and premium flyers. The pods resemble bunk bed style layouts, and users will have to wear specially provided socks. It costs around $291 on top of the price of the economy tickets. The flights go on sale May 18th, and travel begins in November.
On New at Noon, we have a new consumer warning that involves fake CAPTCHA scams. Many scams authentication to grant users access to their pages. Now, experts say scammers are also using fake screens, asking you to do a series of combinations. The exercise allows them to run a program on your screen, giving them access to your information.
They can see when you're typing in your username and password for a variety of different sites. They may be able to even take screenshots of your computer so they can see what you're doing. Really, it's an all-access pass to anything that you're working on.
I'm not saying to be paranoid when you're online, but at least be a little bit skeptical.
Go down and think about what you're doing before you do it. Also, install an antivirus software on your computer to help stop hackers in their tracks. Well, still ahead, the ethanol alternative. Using a gas high in ethanol content could save you cash at the pump. But what does it mean for your vehicle? We'll weigh the pros and cons for you after the break.
Also ahead, picking the proper helmet. We'll share the best way to protect your head regardless of what you're driving.
Breaking news here in the WRAL Live Center. We are learning that Pittsboro police have made an arrest in their Blue Jade Spa investigation. You may remember about a week ago, we reported that Pittsboro police were investigating the spa for illegal sex activity and potential human trafficking. Now, we have learned that the owner, 37-year-old Chow Lee, was arrested. Lee was charged with promoting prostitution, abetting prostitution, practicing massage work unlicensed, and advertising without a license. Lee posted a $3,000 bond. He is scheduled to appear in court on April 22nd. Of course, we'll be able to share updates right here on WRAL as we learn them.
Surged higher, and the price of oil dropped minutes after Iran declared the Strait of Hormuz completely open. But the U.S. is enforcing the blockade, and that will remain in full force until a deal is reached. Iran's foreign minister says the decision was made in line with the Israeli-Lebanon ceasefire. A 10-day ceasefire is in place between Lebanon and Israel, which appears to be holding as residents of South Lebanon are returning to their destroyed homes. As part of the deal, Israel has been prohibited from attacking Lebanon. The U.S. and other leaders welcome the expected reopening of the strait.
And as the war in Iran persists, gas prices continue to fluctuate. Some people might be considering using gasoline with a higher ethanol to save drivers money. But is this right for your vehicle? Lisa Crane reports on the pros and cons of ethanol.
The price at the pump may be causing some panic in your pocketbook these days, but motorists may see a slight reprieve. Fuel with a higher ethanol content will be available at least through May, which could potentially save you up to $0.25 a gallon.
Generally, the higher the ethanol blend, the lower the gas price is. Also, you're going to have different environmental benefits from a higher ethanol blend.
Now, you're most likely going to welcome that lower price, but there is a catch. You're most likely going to have to buy more of the higher ethanol fuel to get the same miles per gallon as regular gas.
If you had a gallon of gas and a gallon of pure ethanol, the gasoline is more potent. It creates more power. So as ethanol percentages increase, the resulting output is decreased. So you actually have to use more of that fuel to get the same result.
And you have to make sure you're choosing the correct fuel for your vehicle. If it's less than 25 years old, it's probably fine.
So higher ethanol really doesn't have a dramatic effect on cars, I would say, over the last 20, 25 years, because they're really designed to handle that. The downside of ethanol is you don't want it in your small equipment, boats, anything with older rubber. Basically, it just deteriorates that rubber. But modern cars, fuel systems are made of plastic, so they're designed to handle that.
And you can use the fuel tracker on the WRAL News app to find the lowest cost of gas wherever you go. Just search fuel.
Well, as families face enough with the drought and upcoming water restrictions, higher electric bills are another worry added to that list. Duke Energy wants to raise rates by 18% as families are already tightening their budgets. While the energy company does have an assistance program, it's only for those who make no more than $62,000 per year for a family of four. Melanie Joseph has already cut extra costs such as streaming services, but says it's still not enough.
We have to, we'll budget what we think it's going to be, and then we'll get the bill, and it'll be like $100 more or $200 more. We're running out of corners to cut. When we have to look at the bills, how much gas we can put in the car, where we can go, where we can't go.
Duke Energy says so far this year it has distributed more than $1 million from its Share the Light fund, which customers still can contribute to each month to help their neighbors.
The town of Cary is considering strengthening its e-bikes policy because of safety concerns. This is video here from social media of teens riding motorized bikes around Wake Forest last month. Commissioners there updated regulations allowing e-bikes and e-scooters on greenways and some streets. In Cary, though, council members want town staff to research the issue and make a recommendation on how to handle it, likely through enforcement or education.
I think a lot of it could be well-intentioned parents who have their children outside riding our greenways, which is great in theory as long as they're doing it legally and safely and responsibly. I do also want to note at the same time, this isn't about curtailing e-bikes completely.
Council members voted to refer this issue to a future council meeting. There, staff will make a recommendation based on a full review of the town's e-bike policy.
Well, as the weather warms up, it's warm, and more people will spend time outdoors. If that includes riding bikes, scooters, or rollerblades, experts say it's important to protect your head. Mandy Gaither spoke with an expert about how to pick the proper helmet.
Every year in the U.S., nearly 1,000 bicyclists die in crashes involving a motor vehicle, and an estimated 120,000 others are taken to the emergency room after being hurt on a bike. Sometimes it's an injury to the head.
Those head injuries come about because they don't have the protection of a helmet. And when I say not the protection, that means they're either not wearing a helmet, they either have a non-compliant helmet or the helmet doesn't fit properly.
Rich O'Brien is executive director of TIC Council Americas, a trade association that tests, inspects, and certifies products like bike helmets for companies. He says the most protective helmets are ones that meet U.S. consumer product safety requirements. So search for a label inside the helmet that says it's been tested and certified. Next, he says to make sure you're not buying a knockoff.
The best way to do that is to make sure that you buy from a reputable dealer. I would suggest going to a bicycle store to buy a helmet.
While O'Brien says buying directly online from a reputable manufacturer will also work, he says going to a store will allow you to try the helmet on, and staff may be able to help you get the right fit. And finally, when you wear a helmet, he says to always make sure the strap is fastened.
If it doesn't fit or it's not compliant, then the chances are that your injury is going to be much worse than it would have otherwise.
And that was Mandy Gaither reporting. Now, O'Brien adds wearing someone else's helmet is not a good idea because it might not fit you properly.
Yeah, very good point. Coming up now at 12:30 here, Digital ID Check, a look at the new age verification app one country is rolling out, the effort to protect youth online.
Miraculous survival. A 4-year-old child falls more than 60 feet and lives. What first responders say helped soften the landing.
And you can watch WRAL News live anytime on WRAL.com or the WRAL app on your TV or streaming device.
The Commission of Fine Arts approving early designs for President Trump's 250-foot arch, but the commission also telling the architect to make some changes and present those at future meetings. The proposed 250 Triumph Arch will be built on the Potomac River across from the Lincoln Memorial. It will be ornamented with gold and eagles, lions, and Lady Liberty statue, which some members of the commission say should be removed. There's no estimated budget or cost for the project. Meanwhile, a group of Vietnam War veterans is suing to prevent the construction. They argue the giant arch would block the view of Arlington National Cemetery. Well, Europe is introducing a new age verification app, one that creators hope will help protect children from harmful or inappropriate content. This new app provides teens with a sort of digital ID card to prove their age without sharing personal information. The app can be set up using a passport or ID card, enabling users to prove their age when accessing online services. It works on any device and is fully open source, which means partner countries around the world can also adopt it.
Now to this incredible story out of Massachusetts. A 4-year-old boy is recovering after surviving a fall from the 7th story of an apartment building. Investigators said the child fell more than 60 feet. Officials believe the impact was partially cushioned by mulch on the ground. When police arrived, they found the boy conscious, alert, and breathing. He was taken to the hospital where he is expected to make a full recovery. Witnesses say it was nothing short of a miracle.
The way that kid fell and the way he hit the ground, you don't survive that. That kid had guardian angels, whether people are spiritual or not. That kid had something on his shoulder that said, "You're not today."
Something on his shoulder. Detectives believe the child may have fallen through a window that was open to cool the apartment. No word if any charges will be filed.
Oh my God, what a scary thought, and glad that ended safely. Well, coming up, Stanley Cup run as the Canes celebrate the 20th anniversary of their 2006 Stanley Cup win. How the team is feeling as they get ready to take on the Ottawa Senators in Game 1 of the NHL playoffs.
And strength and stamina. We'll tell you more about the annual plane pull fundraiser benefiting Special Olympics North Carolina. The first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs is coming to Raleigh tomorrow. Your Carolina Hurricanes are taking on the Ottawa Senators in Game 1. The Canes took the ice for their first practice of the postseason yesterday. Carolina is the top seed in the Eastern Conference this year. The core of the team has been through a lot together and say they plan to lean on that as they begin their quest for the Stanley Cup title.
Yeah, I think just that not much has changed within the group. I think we have guys that came in with playoff experience, and obviously the guys that stayed. We've been far enough, but not quite where we want to be. So just experience is a big thing, and especially for this group, I think we have a lot of it.
And while the players are preparing for the Stanley Cup playoffs, so is the Lenovo Center. They put up these banners yesterday showing several players, including Jacob Slavin and Sebastian Aho. Puck drop tomorrow against Ottawa is at 3 p.m. Game dates and times for the rest of the series is available on WRAL.com right now.
Well, speaking of the sports theme, the Charlotte Hornets are one game away from the NBA playoffs, and how they know, we now know who they have to beat in order to get there. Charlotte will head to Orlando tonight to take on the Magic. Orlando is fighting to stay alive after losing to the Philadelphia 76ers Wednesday night. Tonight's game starts at 7:30. Well, the NBA playoffs return to WRAL on Sunday with a doubleheader starting at 6:30 and then at 9 p.m. If the Hornets advance, they'll play at Detroit in the first game, while San Antonio will host the nightcap.
A drought is putting pressure on water supplies across North Carolina and also raising questions about if the state's water supply in the long term will last. Drought is only one part of that strain. A recent United Nations report says water systems across the globe are facing a, quote, water bankruptcy when resources are depleted to the point they can't fully recover. In some cases, communities are looking outside their own river basins to meet that need. That practice is called an interbasin transfer. It's when sometimes borrowed water is not returned to the same system.
Well, I think the weather patterns in the future are going to constantly change. And so if we're going to be resilient as communities, we have to prepare for that possibility. And that means not exhausting our margins with interbasin transfers and being thoughtful about our growth patterns.
In Fuquay Arena, leaders are asking to pool more than 6 million gallons of water each day from the Cape Fear River Basin. That's a request drawing some pushback from downstream communities concerned about long-term supply. Yes, this drought really has been putting a lot of strain on a lot of people, really concerned about when will we see more rain, Amy?
Well, we're hoping for Sunday.
Yeah.
Some of us had a little bit this morning, but Sunday is our next big weather maker. It's a cold front that brings the chance for some rain. It's going to arrive Sunday. Scattered showers and a few isolated storms are possible. And temperatures will cool down with the front as well. High temperatures are in the 70s Sunday, and it will be even cooler as we head into Monday. It's about a 50% chance that we get a stray shower storm on Sunday, but it's not going to add up to much. We just don't have a lot of moisture to work with this particular front. Maybe a little bit better rain along the North Carolina coast, up to about 1/4 of an inch. But in our area, I would expect 1/10 of an inch or less. So it's not a lot of rain, but at least it's something. It's been hot the last few days. We've tied the record high the last 2 days. It's still going to be hot on Saturday, 94 for the high, but look at the drop, almost 50 degrees in our temperature. By the time we get to Monday morning, 45 for the morning low. So this front brings some rain and also some cooler temperatures. This is a live look at the WRAL Azalea Gardens. It seems every Friday lately we've had a lot of people out here for prom. It'll probably be busy this evening as well. It'll be pretty warm, but at least you don't have to worry about any rain for the pictures. 81 is the current temperature right now in Raleigh and Rocky Mount, 83 in Fayetteville. It's also still dry, so we have the outdoor burn ban for the entire state of North Carolina. So please, no outdoor burning until you're notified that you're allowed to do so. And I just don't think that's going to happen for quite some time. Another hot day today. Highs in the upper 80s and low 90s. 90 for the high temperature in Raleigh today. It's going to be even hotter tomorrow. Our record in Raleigh is 95, and we're going to get close to that, 94 for the high temperature. And that was set back in the 1800s. So that's a long-standing record as well. But that'll be the last day of the big heat. It'll be cooler next week. Sunday, a high of 76, 68 for the high on Monday, 72 for the high temperature on Tuesday. Bulls are playing tonight. It should be pretty nice. It'll be a little warm, but the humidity's low. The first pitch at 6:45. Temperatures will be in the 80s throughout most of the game, in the mid-70s as we head toward 8 o'clock. If you're running the Tar Heel 10-miler tomorrow morning, I think the weather looks pretty good for that. We'll have some sunshine. Temperatures will be in the 60s at 7 and 8 o'clock, and then we're back in the 70s by 9 and 10 o'clock. Laura talked about the Canes, and they'll have their first game tomorrow. It'll be hot for tailgating, so just keep that in mind. It's a 3 o'clock game. Temperatures will be in the low 90s. So hot tomorrow, but it'll feel different for Monday's game. 7:30 in the evening will be around 60 once the game gets underway. So it'll be cooler for the tailgates on Monday. Still hot for the next couple of days. We have that front. We're hoping for some rain Sunday. We've got about a 50% chance. And then it's dry and cooler to kick off the next work week, but we're back in the low 80s by the time we get to Wednesday.
It's hard to believe we're welcoming rain on the weekend.
Right.
We'll take it. Hey, the Special Olympics plane pull happening tomorrow.
Why this event is so important to the success of the thousands of athletes the organization serves.
As we wrap things up, here's a look at a few of the headlines we're following today. Despite the rain in the forecast Sunday, water restrictions will go into effect Monday. Sprinkling will be allowed from midnight to 10 a.m. Odd-numbered houses can water on Tuesdays, even-numbered houses on Wednesdays, and water no more than a half-inch per week. Wally Water will reassess the situation on Tuesday and decide whether to continue the restrictions.
A burn ban is in effect right now as crews battle thousands of acres of wildfires across North Carolina. One brush fire shut down a popular Wake County park. Crews used bulldozers to clear vegetation and prevent spreading. Officials say the dry, breezy conditions likely fueled the fire. People were even asked to evacuate. The park reopened this morning.
A U.S. Postal Services worker in Raleigh faces charges after investigators say he stole packages containing hemp. 41-year-old Marcus Hall faces charges of larceny by an employee and several drug charges, including possession with intent to sell or distribute marijuana. Warrants indicate thefts at a postal distribution facility on Floretta Place starting July of 2025.
Thousands of people will lace up their running shoes for the annual Tar Heel 10-miler. The sold-out event takes place tomorrow in Chapel Hill. The 4-miler kicks off at 7:15 a.m. near the Bell Tower on South Road Drive. The 10-miler starts 30 minutes later. Remember, it's going to be a hot one, so be sure to hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. WRAL's Ashley Rowe will kick off the race as the MC. WRAL is a sponsor of this event.
Well, hundreds of people will be testing their strength and stamina tomorrow. The annual plane pull benefiting Special Olympics North Carolina is happening. Around 80 7-person teams will compete to see who can pull an aircraft 25 feet the fastest. Each team is required to raise about $1,000, and that money goes to helping SONC provide events and resources free of charge to its athletes. The event is happening tomorrow morning at the tarmac at the UPS terminal at RD International. The festivities get underway around 9 and will include music, food trucks, and lots of kids' activities.
Our pets of the day comes to us from the SPCA of Wake County. You'll get a kick out of this. Meet Daffy and Bugs, 2 male bunnies. Daffy, the black one, is 2 years old and Bugs is 4. They are the silly, mismatched pair of your dreams, playful, friendly, and endearing. Like typical brothers, they love each other, but sometimes get annoyed with each other, so they like having a big enclosure where they have their own corner. Their adoption fee is $90. You can contact the SPCA of Wake County to meet them.
All right, well, coming up on WRAL News at 4, as drought puts pressure on the water supply, growing demand from data centers is raising new concerns about how much water those facilities use and whether that use will be limited during drought conditions.
NBC News Daily is coming up next on WRAL, your next local news update in 30 minutes.
Of course, you can get breaking news updates anytime with the WRAL News app and WRAL News Plus as well. Have a great weekend. We'll see you right back here on Monday.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.